Welcome once again, my fellow manipulators of Digital Fate. I'm Richie, this is Capricorn, and today we're back at it with another standard deck tech straight out of Edge of Eternity Standard. And this one's kind of interesting. This is an idea that I've been brewing, theory crafting in the back of my head for quite a while, but I didn't pull the trigger on it until just now. This one's called Inquisition, and the idea is very simple. We're using Sunset Saboteur, which has a ward cost making our opponent discard a card, and we're pairing it with things like Lightstall Inquisitor, which makes our opponent have less cards in their hand to discard to pay that ward cost. And then we're doubling down. We're just using a bunch of stuff that eats our opponent's hand and a ton of other creatures that have ward abilities that require our opponent to discard. So stuff like Alpharael, Stonechosen, Scavenger Regent. We're using Bandit's Talent to eat up our opponent's hand and also give us even more payoffs for when our opponent's out of cards. So much craziness happening in this deck, and I'm pretty excited about it. Before we dive into the deck tech, break down the deck, and then get into the gameplay, it would mean an awful lot to me if you guys could like the video. All of that stuff does help way more than you could possibly imagine, and it means a lot that you guys have been helping me out and hitting that like button every video. So thank you if that's you. Also, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. Tons of crazy content on the way. We've got a little bit of spoiler content, and we've got more deck techs, and there's a couple of secret videos as well that I can't talk about yet. That being said, I'm also going to be at SCGCon Orlando this weekend. That is August 29th through 31st. So if you're going to SCGCon Orlando, definitely let me know in the comments below. Maybe we can meet up and hang out. And also, if you're in the southern New Hampshire or northern Massachusetts area, I am running a Wonders of the First Learn to Play event every single Sunday at 12 noon at Merrimack Games and Comics. That's in Merrimack, New Hampshire. I'd love for you guys to come join in. It's completely free. As soon as people have a couple games under their belt, we're going to offer up a free sealed event where you guys get to keep a bunch of the cards that you crack. It's going to be a great time. So if you're at all even interested in the slightest about learning how to play that game, which I'm kind of addicted to right now, and I'm never play other games other than Magic until I found this game, and this game is just kind of taking over my life. That being said, I'm going down a rabbit hole. If you're interested, come out to Merrimack Games and Comics in Merrimack, New Hampshire, Sunday at 12 noon. Let's do the thing. Now let's dive into this deck. This deck is actually incredibly fun. The entire deck revolves around Sunset Saboteur, a 4/1 human rogue for 1 black and 1. He has Menace, he has Ward, discard a card, and whenever this creature attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature and opponent controls. So a couple things worth noting is, first of all, they have to discard a card to target this with removal, which is kind of what the entire deck is built around, because everything in the deck is aimed at taking cards out of our opponent's hand, so that if they do end up paying that ward cost, they actually have to discard a really good card in order to do so. And sometimes they don't even have enough cards in their hand in order to do it. And every single ward, discard a card, or any card in the deck at all that requires our opponent to discard a card just gets way better the more you start to pile them up on top of each other, because then they start to kind of protect each other. It gets really crazy. Now, the downside is obviously we have to put a +1/+1 counter on one of their creatures when we swing, so it's important that we have a lot of removal so we can take their stuff off the board and not necessarily have to worry about that counter being impactful. Although because we have Menace on the Sunset Saboteur and a lot of evasion with our other creatures, even if they get to keep one blocker and we pile up counters on it, a lot of times we can just race that one blocker or one attacker and still win the game, even if they get to keep the counter value, which is really, really nice. We're also using 4 copies of Lightstall Inquisitor, a 1 mana 2/1 Vigilance. When it enters, each opponent exiles a card from their hand. They can play that card as long as it remains exiled, but it costs 1 more mana to play unless it's a land, in which case it enters tapped. This is really good for just getting another card out of their hand. If they have 1 less card in their hand, that's 1 less card they can discard to pay for the ward cost for Sunset Saboteur, not counting all of the other crazy ways we can take advantage of them not having as many cards in their hand in this deck. One of those ways is Bandit's Talent. This is going to get rid of another card, make them discard as soon as we play it, so make all of our other cards that synergize with that play line that much better. But we can also level it up to level 2, start burning them down if they have, only 1 card in their hand or less, which is really easy to do in a deck that's just taking everything out of their hand, whether it's exiling it with the Lightstall Inquisitor or making them discard it to like ward costs or whatever. It's really hard for them to keep a hand, and we're just going to burn them down. What's better is we have some card advantage, so when we're out of gas, we can dump 4 more mana into this, start drawing an extra card every turn, gas back up, and finish out the game. Now, going to the bottom of the curve, we also have 4 copies of Ruthless Negotiation. If we don't have the Lightstall Inquisitor on 1, this is the next best thing. Just 1 mana, we get something out of their hand, 1 less card in their hand to discard to ward, and to use for gas for other things. It just powers up our synergies, but it also has flashback. So later on, if we are out of gas, if we're not turning on the Bandit's talent yet, we can at least play the Ruthless Negotiation from the yard, make them exile another card, but also draw a card and try to get back in the game. We're also running 2 copies of Grim Bauble, a 1-mana artifact. When it enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. You can also pay 3 mana, tap it, and sack it to Surveil to, which is actually really important because that'll find the cards we need. There's another thing that this is really good for, and that's triggering Void. And we're running 2 copies of Alpharael Stonechosen, a 3/3 for 5 that has ward, discard a card at random. By the time this thing comes out, not only is it super hard for them to pay that ward cost at all, and have any cards left in their hand to discard, but if they do, they might get their own hand down to the point where the Bandit's talent starts kicking in, and if they do have a big enough hand, the fact that they have to discard something at random means that they could end up discarding their very best card, which is just hugely powerful. So Alpharael becomes a huge problem for an opponent that doesn't very often have many cards in their hand. But what's even better is he has this Void ability. Whenever he attacks, if a non-land permanent left the battlefield this turn or a spell was warped, the defending player just loses half their life rounded up. And that happens even before blocks are declared, which is kind of wild. Now, we have certain cards in this deck that help us trigger that Void. That Grim Bauble we were talking about is one of them. That's why this is one of our cheap pieces of removal, because later on, if we have an Alpharael out, we can just pay 3 mana and sack it. Not only are we surveilling 2, but we're triggering that Void on Alpharael. We can also do that with a few other cards. We have Fabled Passages in the mana base, just so that if we have one later on, maybe we save it to trigger Void on a turn where it matters. Moving on to the 2-drop slot, we have 4 Deep-Cavern Bat, helps us get even more cards out of our opponent's hand while giving us a creature on the battlefield. It's important that we have these 4 copies of Deep-Cavern Bat and 4 copies of Lightstall Inquisitor so that we have early creatures while not slowing down on our ability to take things out of our opponent's hand. That way we have something to put our Sheltered by Ghosts on. We're running 4 copies of this, and if you thought Ward Discard a card was bad, imagine Ward Discard a card and having to pay an extra 2 mana because of a Shelter by Ghosts. A lot of time, even them getting back the permanent that we hit with the Shelter by Ghosts doesn't matter because they had to give up so much gas just in order to kill the thing, which is awesome. But having the 4 copies of Deep-Cavern Bat and the 4 Lightstall Inquisitors alongside the 4 Sunset Saboteur gives us a nice 12-card package of creatures that we can have out super early to make sure we always have something to put the Sheltered by Ghosts on. And not only is this getting rid of their worst permanent, but it's giving us +1/+0 and lifelink so we can help win the race as well, which sometimes can matter if Sunset Saboteur is beefing up their board and they're cracking back. We've also got 4 Momentum Breaker. Momentum Breaker is another really good one in this deck because having Menace on the Sunset Saboteur means our opponent can have 1 blocker, they just can't have 2. So if they do get to the point where they have 2, it doesn't really matter which one they lose. Just playing a Momentum Breaker and making them sacrifice one of them so that we can get through with our Menace creature sometimes makes the difference in us just taking the game and just winning before our opponent can do anything about it. But what's also great about the Momentum Breaker is if they don't have anything in play, they have to discard a card from their hand. So it's not useless against like control decks that don't have creatures in play, it's another discard card as well. And then on top of that, we also have a way to sacrifice the Momentum Breaker by paying 2 mana, and we gain life equal to our speed, but more importantly, it's a way to trigger Voids. So if we have Alpharael down, and we've been just holding on to a Momentum Breaker for a while, even if we don't have a lot of speed, we can just sack it to trigger the Void on Alpharael and be able to swing and make our opponent lose half their life right away, even before they ever declare blockers, which is super powerful. The last card is a 4-drop Scavenger Regent, which is equally as insane in this deck. A 4/4 flyer for 4 mana, and it has Ward, discard a card. By the time you drop this, they're probably out of gas. They're probably not going to be able to pay that ward cost. And you're just going to swing in the air and win the game before they can get enough value to really make any kind of a comeback. But even if they are able to kill this, they have to pay that ward cost, and that just juices up the rest of the synergies in the deck. Not to mention the fact that if you are in a losing position, your opponent got way ahead, and you're gonna lose, you can always just use this as a sweeper, play Exude Toxin, wipe the board, and try to start over. So the fact that it doubles as a potential pseudo sweeper is a little bit of extra gravy that is super nice. But having that evasion is super good, especially if the Sunset Saboteur was piling a couple counters on something earlier in the game, something that maybe we haven't been able to kill. Now it doesn't really matter. They can't block the Scavenger Regent because it's in the air. They probably can't block the Sunset Saboteur because it has Menace. The Deep-Cavern Bat is also in the air, and that's not really much of a win condition, but if we happen to get a Sheltered by Ghosts on it, and it's swinging for 2 every turn, it could make the difference and close out a game for us for sure. So a lot of interesting synergies in this deck. I actually think it's really interesting and really good. And I'm excited for you guys to come up with ways that we can kind of evolve this deck going forward and iterate on it, because the core I think is really sound, the concept is really good, but I have this nagging suspicion that there are some better cards that I've overlooked that can make this deck even better. So if you have ideas, let me know in the comments for sure, and without further ado, let's check out the games. I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Wonders of the First. Wonders of the First is a brand new collectible card game similar to games like Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, featuring a unique action-based resource economy that helps avoid pitfalls like Mana Flood or Mana Screw, and a battlefield containing multiple realms that unlock over time as you fight for control of the stones. The first 400 card set is called Existence, and they've even partnered with Star City Games to host their competitive play tour at every single SCGCon event starting in August. The game contains alternate borderless art variants, as well as highly sought after limited edition numbered prints, culminating in a 1-of-1 stone foil. And the best part is that the developers have a community-first approach with a card database and deck builder available via Cardio, as well as a version of the game available on Tabletop Simulator, all for free. For more information, be sure to check out wondersccg.com today. That's wondersccg.com. Alright, this looks fine. We can keep it. We'll start with a tapped Godless Shrine. And then turn 2, I don't know if we go with the Bat or the Saboteur. I'm almost thinking the Saboteur. If they have to use up 2 cards to get rid of the Saboteur and then we follow that up with a Bat, that almost might be just as good. Aye aye, Ron. 'Tis your go. 'Tis your go, my friend. 'Tis your go. Alright, he kept 6. Plays a Rock Face Village. Alright, we'll go tapped Godless Shrine. Maybe we want to lead with the Momentum Breaker. Hard to say. Maybe the Deep-Cavern Bat is the right call. Although, if the Sunset Saboteur sticks, we get to put a Sheltered by Ghosts on it and swing for 5 and gain 5 life, which is huge. So let's see what he does. Can he afford to discard a card to target it? I guess we'll find out. Alright, he's gonna go for it. Discards another Rock Face Village. Down to 1 card in his hand. Decides to target the Challenger. Grabs a Burst Lightning. This actually isn't that bad. We'll enter tapped, and we'll play Deep-Cavern Bat. Hit that last card in his hand. Ooh, it's a land. Either way, we have a creature on board now that we can start gaining back life with. And we have plenty of removal. So it shouldn't be too hard to get rid of his board. Slick Shot Show Off. Target the Challenger. Surprised he didn't target the Challenger first. He could have killed the Deep-Cavern Bat. No blocks. We're at 4, but it's honestly not the worst ever. We're gonna go with this. Hit the Challenger. Swing for 2. Go back up to 6. He has to get really lucky here to kill me. But instead he got unlucky. And I will take it. Alright, we're going to go to 1. Bleachbone Verge. And that is completely fine. We will Momentum Breaker. Make him sack a creature. See what he sacks. Let's see what he sacks. Now we have a couple different options. We're swinging in for 2 for sure, going up to 3. That means if he does draw the Burst Lightning, he could kill us. We could save the Momentum Breaker to crack to get back 2 life and go to 5. But if he hits us with the Hired Claw for 3, actually he'd only need a shock, right? So yeah, let's Momentum Breaker again, get rid of the Hired Claw. This is our best chance. He could still top deck a Burst Lightning. Alright, I think we got him. I think we got him. At this point, we just keep smashing in. And we can crack the Momentum Breakers to gain life. We can gain up to 6 life with these things already. He wants to shock. Alright. He's going to shock the Deep-Cavern Bat. Get back his Challenger. Target the Challenger. We might have to gain all of the life right now so we can play a Scavenger Regent next turn. We go to 2. We'll crack this. I think that's what we're going to have to do. We definitely need to play a creature. So we'll go up to 8. We could just Momentum Breaker instead. How risky do I want to be? I think getting out a blocker for now is better. There aren't going to be very many other opportunities to fit one in. If we can get it out first and then Momentum Breaker, we could be in a really strong position. We do have 8 life right now. Hired Claw comes down. He2 Lava Runner comes down. Don't think he's going to swing. I think we might have him. I think we might have him. We get to play Sheltered by Ghosts and swing for 5 and gain 5 life. That's nuts. So we'll play Momentum Breaker. Make him sack 1 first. Then we will Sheltered by Ghosts. Hit his card advantage. Swing for 5, gain 5, and it's pretty much over at this point. It also puts us up to 4 speed, so when we do sack the Momentum Breaker, we're going to gain 4 life back. Which is kind of nuts. I don't think Hired Claw is going to be able to do enough. It can swing for like 5. But we're gaining life every turn. So I don't know, man. I think that might just be it. Swing for 5. Put out another Scavenger Regent. If I wanted to, we could have actually killed the Hired Claw. Actually, it's a 2-3. We would need 1 more land. But if we did have another land, we could kill the Hired Claw without killing our own Scavenger Regent, which is pretty strong. Screaming Nemesis. That is fine. We will get rid of the card advantage again. Go to 7. And the game is ours. Drop the Bandit's Talent. Might as well. Sack the Momentum Breaker. And swing for 9. Goodbye, Mono Red. I would say it was a pleasure, but it never is with you. Alright, this looks pretty good. We can keep it. We'll probably put the Godless Shrine into play tapped on turn 1. Save ourselves some health. And then we've got turn 2 Deep-Cavern Bat. Try to hit whatever removal he has in his hand. And or elves. I guess we could also just Grim Bauble the elves. I think that's worth it, just to slow him down. We also get to put our Godless Shrine into play, tapped and save 2 life again. Let's see what he's got here. Esper Origins, that's fine. I still think we probably Deep-Cavern Bat here. Ooh, except now we've got Sunset Saboteur. I think it might actually be better to get that out. If we end up needing to play Shelter by Ghosts, that's a really good target. So he's going to have to discard a card if he wants to kill it. And that's even more gas out of his hand. Plots an Outcast Trailblazer. Interesting. Well, we will start with a Bandit's Talent, get him to discard something. And then we'll hit whatever we want with the Deep-Cavern Bat. And that will be wonderful. Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest? He doesn't have the double red for it, does he? So we'll hit the Roaming Throne. He's not going to be able to play that. We'll swing while we can, put him at 18. We get to Momentum Breaker or Sheltered next turn. Maybe even both. But I'm thinking it's probably just one or the other. And then we level up the Bandit's Talent. We start burning down his life total. Outcaster Trailblazer. Makes 1 green. Plays Esper Origins from the yard. Which is fine. He's still not going to have the red for Dragonhawk. So now the question becomes, do we bother to Momentum Breaker or not? We're definitely going to Sheltered by Ghosts. I guess we could just get rid of both of them. Yeah, I guess that works. Or we could Sheltered by Ghosts one of them. That's another thing we could do. What's more important to you, ramp or card draw? I guess we'll just do it again. We don't know if he's going to have multiple creatures out next turn, and then we could have our pick with Sheltered. Whereas right now, the Momentum Breaker gets rid of the only creature. So Sheltered could be a little bit more valuable next turn, even though we are giving up on getting 4 life. We definitely need to get rid of everything on the board, that way we don't have to give something a counter. It's going to bounce off the Deep-Cavern Bat. That's fine. We hit for 4. Speed 2. That's actually good for us. That means we get to Deep-Cavern Bat again. Like, sure, you get to replay your Roaming Throne, but there's probably better things to hit. I'm assuming he Warp 4. He does the Warp 4 on the Anticausal, and then when it leaves, uses it to put the Roaming Throne into play. It's just basically the same thing as playing a Roaming Throne, except he also gets to draw a card. Oh, he's going to use the Temur Battlecrier. Okay. Well, let's see what we can hit in his hand first. He's got no red. So we don't need to worry about the Dragonhawk. I think we hit the Roaming Throne. One less creature that's 4 or more power. And then we will Shelter by Ghosts on the Sunset Saboteur, hit the Battlecrier, and smash in for 5. Well, we're really close to getting there now. He has to pay an extra 2 and discard a card if he wants to target the Saboteur. And this is a combo deck, so I don't even think he's really got the removal he needs. You could say we're kind of lucky he didn't get the red mana, but if he did, we would have pivoted. We would have hit the Dragonhawk earlier. So I don't think it would have changed all that much. Alright, we will crack the Fabled Passage. Grab a swamp. Do we Grim Bauble? The Llanowar Elf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he's going to be able to cast it anyway. So no. We've got Menace. Not super concerned. We'll hit for 6. And what we'll do is we'll spend this turn leveling up the Bandit's Talent. We can still play the Grim Bauble and hit the Llanowar Elves next turn before it gets another counter. And then that way he'll only have 1 blocker, maybe. And we can still get through with the Menace. But we've still got 1 in the air, regardless, so... Ooh. That is rough, my friend. Like, you get your Battlecrier back, but you gotta discard your Dragonhawk. That's... I mean, I think we got you. In the air. You can swing 8, yep. And then he knows it's over. This is just the last ditch, like, do whatever I can. Yeah. We just took away too much of his gas. He didn't have a chance. This isn't the greatest, but I think we can make it work. We're gonna have to start with the Fabled Passage. Probably find a swamp. Maybe play Bandit's Talent on 2. If we draw another land, we could get lucky and play Lightstall Inquisitor into Sheltered by Ghost, potentially. If not, just Lightstall Inquisitor and level up the Bandit's Talent. That's what I'm thinking. Alright, so Fabled Passage, pass the turn. No reason to show him what colors we're playing yet. Plays some blue. Sweet. Do we want black? I think we need black. Grabbing a Plains means we do set up the potential to turn 3, do Lightstall into Sheltered. Regardless of what color mana we draw. But I think there are just too many things that need double black, and there are way more black spells in this deck, so there's a better chance that to double spell we're gonna need black. So I think we just take the chance here. Go with the swamp. We could Ruthless Negotiation and Lightstall Inquisitor the next turn, which honestly isn't that bad. And we can just level up the Bandit's Talent as well. Let's do the Lightstall Inquisitor first. Because he'll probably exile his worst card, which means we'll hit something better with the Ruthless Negotiation. And that will be exiled forever. Cecil. He's got no black mana. We will Ruthless Negotiation. Exile another card, sir. Eh? I think he's mad. I think he's salty. We're gonna have to give this man the whistle. Nope. He counters it. Well, we still get rid of a card. I mean, I don't hate that. We got rid of his counter spell for 1 mana. That's what we wanted to do, right? Get rid of a card from his hand? He's pretty low. The Bandit's Talent's going to do some work for sure. Get out. Counter a creature or enchantment spell. Well, now that he's low on cards, we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to fetch a Plains here since we have enough black mana now. And we are going to play Scavenger Regent. It's going to be really, really hard for him to remove that when he's so out of gas. And it was important to get it down too before he has the get out where he can counter a creature. He might have to just discard that get out to whatever his removal spell is. Yep. Oh, he has to discard 2 cards because it's a Bitter Triumph. That's disgusting. Ooh, we are racing. The Cecil is dealing as much damage to him as it is to us. We could just play the Shelter by Ghosts here. But I think we're just going to play another Scavenger Regent. Now he can't get rid of it. And we're hitting him for 2 with the Bandit's Talent every turn. Absolutely disgusting. No blocks. Go ahead, flip, do all the things. Let's see, 4 mana. I guess we do this to make sure that the Bandit's Talent's going to hit him for 2 again. And he has seen enough. We got the win. This looks pretty good. We can start with a Ruthless Negotiation. We are going to have to shock in the Godless Shrine. But that's okay. It does get us the Dalkovan Encampment into play untapped, which is nice. So, at least we get more bang for our buck, so to speak. Waiting on 𝑏𝑒𝑟𝑒𝑧𝑏𝑵𝑐ℎ. 𝑏𝑒𝑟𝑒𝑧𝑏𝑵𝑐ℎ. Alright, Godless Shrine, pay 2, Ruthless Negotiation. Get rid of whatever you want. I'm gonna drink some coffee. Delicious. Delicious. Gets rid of a Riverpire Verge. I'll take it. It's 1 less card he can discard to ward costs. I guess we go Deep-Cavern Bat. Does he respond with a shock? Might have been better to Bandit's Talent. Okay, VV, Winter Night, Eidetic Memory, Into the Floodmaw, Fear of Missing Out. We'll take Into the Floodmaw. We've got Momentum Breaker for whatever he plays, so I'm not super worried about that. Prof's Eidetic Memory. Do we Deep-Cavern Bat again? I think we do. I think we do. This time we'll hit the Fear of Missing Out. Although it's possible we should have just hit that Cauldron. Get that out of the way now. I think we'll be okay though. Alright, he's just gonna scoop it up. I guess that works. This hand is a little bit land heavy, but I think we can make it work. We'll keep it. We're going to start with a Concealed Courtyard and jam the Lightstall Inquisitor. Exile something, my dude. That's one less card in your hand you can discard. Which means our ward discard gets more powerful, theoretically. Well, now we know you have a Snakeskin Veil. That's only good for us. Hopefully we draw something we can play. No dice. So we'll just get the Godless Shrine into play tapped. Save ourselves some health. Smack in for 2. Not the greatest curve for us. But it's okay. We're going to make it work. We'll play another Godless Shrine tapped. Grim Bauble to kill Tifa. And swing in for 2 again. We can jam the Regent next turn. And he's running out of cards to pitch to get rid of it, which is really strong for us. Tapped land, huh? Well, we'll swing 2. We've got nothing to take out with Shelter by Ghosts. The Tifa's gone. We'll play the Regent. Life's going to be really hard for him now. Not to mention the fact that he's likely mono green. Alright. Buff it up. We're just going to eat it with Sheltered by Ghosts. He's going to be very unhappy. Very, very unhappy. Shelter by Ghosts. Eat the Hydra. Deep-Cavern Bat. Take whatever removal you might have. None. Yeah. That's about it, my friend. This looks fine. Ruthless Negotiation on 1. We don't have anything to play turn 2, so we probably just get the Fabled Passage out of the way. But hopefully we draw into something that we can play. That would be much more preferable. But we'll start with the Ruthless Negotiation here. Force our opponent to discard. Well, exile. Alright, we hit a land. That's pretty good for us. Let's see. Sacred Foundry Market Gnome. So he must be playing munitions. Unfortunately, we're just going to have to jam out that Fabled Passage. And we don't have a 3-drop for turn 3. So we do need to get a little bit lucky. Luckily, we will thin the deck out by cracking the passage. Clockwork Percussionist. Alright, swings for 1. We will crack this for a Plains. We want to make sure and hold on to our Shelter by Ghosts. Specifically to hit the weapons manufacturing. If he can't make munitions, he can't win the game. So we're holding on to this forever. Forever. Till he plays that thing. Hopefully we get a land we can just drop the Scavenger Regent. I think that would be really good for us. Alright, swings with the Percussionists. No land. We could Scavenger Regent to kill both the Percussionists. I mean, that's not the worst ever. Let's just do that. Force him to have to use whatever value he gets out of them now. ASAP. 2 Magitech infantry. I think he's just going to play him. Makes sense. We'll play the Godless Shrine and a Scavenger Regent. He'll have to discard if he wants to kill the Scavenger Regent, and most of his burn stuff won't do the trick. So if he has to use 2 different burn spells on it, he has to discard twice. Which is actually insanely good for us. We hit 4 cards out of his hand just for him to get rid of the Regent. He could have something else, though. He could have Dusk Rose Reliquary, which would actually be really good for him. Do we want to Sheltered by Ghosts? I think we start with Ruthless Negotiation. He might just use the Magitech Infantry's ability here. We might as well play it, though. We'll still hold on to the Sheltered by Ghosts, for reasons that we've already discussed. Alright, we'll swing in for 4. He probably uses the infantry's ability. No, he's going to spring-loaded Saw Blades. Well, he is going to have to discard something. Alright, discards another spring-loaded Saw Blades. We'll end the turn. If we can draw a land, we can get Alpharael online, and we can also play these Ruthless Negotiation from the yard. Draw some cards, and maybe get back in the game. Looks like he doesn't have a weapons manufacturing. Plays 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ. He has to tap out for 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ. So he's not going to be able to get extra loyalty onto it. He just wants to hit me for an extra damage.
Work harder.
That makes sense. Another Scavenger Regent. Yeah, we'll play that. Gives us another thing to put Sheltered by Ghosts on. He has to discard another card if he wants to kill it. He's probably bummed that he got rid of that other spring-loaded Saw Blades. We can swing in and kill the 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ potentially, but he's going to play artifacts. He's definitely going to put loyalty on it. But Sheltered could go a long way. Sheltered coming out of nowhere could give us the ability to swing in and not get hit by something like spring-loaded Saw Blades. Oh, he's going to do the Dusk Rose Reliquary. Discard another card. Sure is losing a lot of gas. Alright, discards a plains. That's fine. He will run out of value eventually. He has to -3 his 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ, which is kind of actually like a -2. Because the thing that you fetch puts a loyalty counter back on 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ. Now we'll play Alpharael. The Stonechosen. Ward, discard a card at random. Good luck, friend. Let's see what you've got. He's going to kill his own 𝑇𝑒𝑟𝑟𝑎𝑐ℎ, probably to find another Dusk Rose Reliquary. But, I mean, you're going to have to discard at random to the Alpharael. That is scary. Very scary. Well, let's see what we hit. We hit the weapons manufacturing. See, that's what I'm talking about. We are down to 4, which is scary. We don't have anything to put the Sheltered on. If he has a way to just hit us for 1 more damage, we're dead. We could Momentum Breaker to gain a life, but I don't think it really matters right now. I think we just try to regain some card advantage here and hope he doesn't have a way to put an extra counter on the infantry. Alright, exiles a Sun Pearl Kirin. Oh, we're dead. Unbelievable. What a game. What a game. That was so close. Wild. This looks pretty good. We can keep it. I don't think we'll have a super good opportunity to fit in that Grim Bauble. Maybe turn 3 alongside a 2-drop. Probably Fabled Passage on 1 for a swamp. Turn 2 Deep-Cavern Bat. Turn 3 we have the opportunity to play Sheltered by Ghosts or Bandit's Talent alongside a Grim Bauble. I think that's probably the smart way to do it. We're going to give him the shrug. Because when people take forever, they deserve the shrug. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be able to take forever. Sometimes I have to take forever. All I'm saying is if you do take forever, you definitely get the shrug. Definitely. Pass the turn. Alright. We will grab a swamp. We will try to rip apart their hand. See if it actually works. Concealed Courtyard. Deep-Cavern Bat. Show me good things. Hollow Merc Siege. Innkeeper's Talent. Sirach. Paw Patch. Shoot the Sheriff. Sirach. Well, we'll grab the Shoot the Sheriff, right? I'm assuming he plays the Innkeeper's Talent. He might just play the Hollow Merc Siege. Yeah, that's what he's gonna do. Names Sultai. Draws a card whenever he gets a counter. We don't need to Grim Bauble. Don't think we care about Sheltered by Ghosts right now. Let's Bandit's Talent and use the extra mana to level up the Bandit's Talent. That seems fine. He probably discards a Sirach, if I was to guess. The question is, does he have a third land? Does he have a third land? I guess we'll find out. Let's see what he plays. Innkeeper's Talent. Third land. So I guess we'll go Bandit's Talent. Do I even want to hit one of these? I feel like I want to save the Sheltered by Ghosts for Sirach, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's just better to not let it get counters? Honestly, kind of hard to say. We definitely don't want him drawing cards, right? So let's just do this now while we can. We will eat the Innkeeper's Talent. And we'll swing 2. Opponent's turn. Opponent's turn. Let's see, we've got Paw Patch Recruit with Offspring. That's fine. No counters. We took away his ability to get counters, which means we took away his ability to draw cards. Which is kind of important. Now we'll just put all of our beef onto the field and just try to race him. He's out of gas, he's got no way to draw cards. We've got life gain, we've got Bandit's Talents that are gonna just like burn him down to nothing. He can't block our flyers. Plays a Wastewood Verge. He's just got no ways to draw cards unless we target his stuff. Just make sure not to target his stuff. Alright, he stations that thing up to 10. It's still not quite there. Sacrifice is not target, so we could do that. I don't think it's going to do a whole lot for us, though. I think I would rather do this. And this. And just start burning him down like crazy. We go up to 27. Both Bandits' Talents trigger and put him at 3. And we'll get to draw an extra card next turn. We still have Momentum Breaker. Yeah, just got rid of all of his gas. All of it. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. I'd like to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons over at Patreon. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so honestly, thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your contributions. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. The more likes we get and the quicker we get them, the bigger this channel will grow and the faster it will grow. I'd love nothing more than this channel to become something very special for you guys, but it's entirely up to you how fast that happens. Also, if you'd like more deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere up that way. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.